This Shabbos is a very special Shabbos. This coming Shabbos. It's the Shabbos of the 18th of Elul, when both the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe were born, both born the same day, 18th of Elul. The Baal Shem Tov was born in the year Taf Nun Ches, which stands for Nachas, pleasure, and the Alter Rebbe was born in Taf Kuf Hey. The Baal Shem Tov was 47 years old. The Alter was born in the year Taf Kuf Hey, which stands for Karnei Hay Torah, the beams of the light of Torah. So there are many other things that happened on the 18th of Elul. The Baal Shem Tov, for the first time, saw Eliyahu Navi on the 18th of Elul. Maral passed away. Maral was a great-great-great-grandfather of the Alter Rebbe. He passed away on the 18th of Elul. The Mittel Rebbe, he moved to the city of Lubavitch, which was a seat of Chassidus for 102 years, on the 18th of Elul. So all these things tell us that there's something heavenly about this day. So understand what the connection is between the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov, and yet how the Alter Rebbe added something to the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. We can understand this from the chapter of Tehillim that the Baal Shem Tov was saying in the year that the Alter Rebbe was born. In general, the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe were unique in that they revealed the inner teachings of the Torah, the inner meaning of the Torah. And one of the things that they revealed was the idea of a birthday. Their birthdays were celebrated themselves, but besides their own celebration of their birthday, the whole concept of a birthday being a significant date was also something that both the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe introduced. Baal Shem Tov would make a special farbrengen, a special gathering on his birthday. He would be the chazan for the prayers on his birthday. So there must be something about what they introduced that is related to the idea of a birthday. So the Baal Shem Tov also instituted that on your birthday, you should say a chapter of Tehillim associated with your age. Not just on your birthday, every day of the year you should say a chapter of Tehillim. Which chapter should you say? You should say the chapter of Tehillim that is associated with your age. So if you're 10 years old, you say the 11th chapter, because you're in your 11th year of life. So the Baal Shem Tov, since that the year the Alter Rebbe was born, he was 47, he was saying chapter 48. So the question is, what's the relationship between them? And yet there's something more of the Alter Rebbe that the Baal Shem Tov didn't do, and that's why there was only an opposition. There was opposition to the Baal Shem Tov also. But there's a new opposition against Chassidus when the Alter Rebbe took the leadership of the Chassidim, and so it means he added something. That's why this caused this new opposition. The opposition to something new is not a unique phenomenon in Jewish history. We always find whenever something new is being brought to the Jewish people, there's always an opposition. It's not because Jewish people are suspicious, maybe that too, but also because Hashem made the world in a way that whenever something holy is being brought to the world, in order to even out the stakes of the Hashem wants to have a home in this world, the lowest world, there must be something that counters it, because Hashem wants that that our service of Hashem should be done with not for free but with effort. And therefore, when there's a new gift, something new that comes to the world, there's also a new opposition. For example, Maimonides, when he put together his work that explained all the laws of the Torah, there's a fierce opposition. And the same as in every generation, when there was something new that was brought to the world, there was an opposition. So the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov have something similar. They both reveal the inner dimension of Torah. But there's something different in the Alter Rebbe, and because of that, there's a new opposition. What is the same? What is different? How does it relate to the idea of a birthday? And how does it relate to the Baal Shem Tov's chapter of Tehillim, chapter 48? So that chapter of Tehillim begins with Godel Hashem u'mahul u'ma'ed. Great is Hashem, and Hashem is praised. Be'ir Elokeinu, in the city of our God. Hashem is great in the city of our God. It says the Gemara, when is Hashem great? Hashem is great in the city of our God. What does that mean? So there's a simple meaning, but deeper meaning is like this. There is the name of Hashem Elokim, and the name of Hashem Havai. The name Elokim is associated with Hashem's light being filtered and limited. The name Havaya, name Yukivavke, that name expresses Hashem's light, Hashem's infinity. So it says in the Torah, Hashem created the world, Hashem created the heaven and the earth. What does it say? Who created it? It says Elokim. Elokim is the name of Hashem which conceals. So creation can't come from a concealment. Creation has to come from a divine power. So that's why in another verse it says, Hashem Elokim, Hashem Elokim made heaven and earth. Another verse it says, Yahal was Shem Hashem, the name Yukei Vavke, who he commanded and the world came to be. So creation we see has a relationship to both names of Hashem. The name which has to do with light, revelation, and the name of Hashem which has to do with concealment. Why do we need both names, both energies? So this explains that the world is here to achieve Hashem's purpose in creation, which is Hashem wants a home in the lowest realm. If all there was revelation of Hashem's light, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, of his infinity, there wouldn't be a home in this world, a home in the lowest realm. Hashem wants a home in the lowest realm. To create a realm that is perfect for Hashem's intent, there has to be a concealment of God, something that hides Hashem's name. The name Elokim, that name is about concealment, that hides Hashem's name. And because it hides Hashem's name, it conceals it. Therefore, there is nature. Therefore, there's a multitude of creation. There's a multiplicity in creation because of the name Elokim. Think about a human being talking. There is 2 points over here. There is the voice, then there is the words that are articulated. Just like in Havai and Elokim, there is the divine power, and there's a way the divine power is filtered in a way that causes it to be specific creatures. When someone's talking, they're conveying an idea, they're conveying a feeling. When there's the voice itself of the person, the voice itself is comparable to Hashem, to name Yukei Vav-Kei, the infinite power of Hashem. But that infinite power has to be filtered and limited in order for it to create the nature of the world and the creatures of the world in a very limited, definite structure as that Hashem desired, as he wants a home in the lowest realm. So where do you see the greatness of Hashem? The greatness of Hashem, you'd think you see in the name Yukei Vav-Kei, the name which expresses his infinity. However, Torah says, where do you see the greatness of Hashem? Be'ir Elokeinu, in the city of Elokim. Why Elokim? So in the book of formation, it says that there is a house and there's a city. A house is created by bricks, and a house is just like a house is created by bricks, so too an idea is created by letters. And just like many words create many ideas and sentences and more complex ideas, so too there is a city created by the many combinations of the letters of the Aleph base, which are produced by Shem Elokim. So Shem Elokim makes it possible for there to be Torah and mitzvahs, makes it possible for there to be a physical world. Shem Elokim makes it possible for us to bring Hashem's light to the world. Shem Elokim, which through all the contractions and concealment that Shem Elokim causes, it makes the greatness of Hashem possible to recognize by things that are, so to speak, outside of godliness. So that's why the Gemara says Hashem is great. Where is He great? He's great in Elokeinu. He's great. He's made great by His concealment. The greatness of Hashem through Yud Kei Vav Kei is a greatness that's not the greatness He wants. He wants a home in the physical world, and therefore, where is He great? He's great through concealment, through Him being hidden. But in order, so that's first of all the reason why it's considered great is because that's what Hashem wants. Hashem wants a home in the lowest realm. The Gemara says where you find Hashem's greatness, you find His humility. In order for Him to be great, to be recognized by people, He has to hide Himself, He has to humble Himself, He has to conceal Himself. That's one idea. But another point is, another greatness of Hashem, a new greatness of Hashem that's achieved through Shem Elokim is this. In order to bring Hashem's light down in a way that could be limited, that itself requires a higher power. To go from the infinite to the finite, that requires something even greater than Yud Kei Vav Kei. It requires in order to make a convergence between the infinite light of Hashem, and that light of Hashem should go into letters that create all the different creatures of the world, Ma'arov, Ma'asach, Magog, Masacha, all the manifold creations of Hashem. There has to be a higher power to bring it down. Why need a higher power? Just like the Brisker Rav famously said, if you're not a Bal Havana, you're not a Bal Asbara. You don't understand something, you can't explain. You can memorize the whole book of Talmud, but to explain the book of Talmud, you have to go deeper. You have to really understand. In a similar way, in order to be able to give a parable for something, to explain something with a parable, you have to really understand it very deeply to give a parable. That's what the Gemara says, that who gave a parable? Reb Meir was the one who was able to give parables. King Solomon was able to give parables. To be able to give an example, a parable for something, on the surface, you bring it down to a lower level. On the other hand, your ability to convey the idea to less gifted students, that stems from your deep understanding of something. That's where you're able to convey it and bring it down to the level of your student. You wouldn't be able to do that if you don't understand it very well. So the Baal Shem Tov, he revealed godliness in a way that was unique. And their birthdays of the Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe, they all fall out in this Torah portion, Kisavim. What's Kisavim mean? Kisavim means to arrive, to be there. It's possible to keep Torah mitzvahs in a way that you're just you feel separate from the mitzvahs that you're doing. You're very religious, but it's something that's not who you are. But then there is where you feel that Torah mitzvahs is your life itself. As the Talmud says, I was created to serve Hashem. My whole being is in order to fulfill Hashem's will and creation. You feel a mitzvah is you. Not just as something that you have to for the sake of someone else, but this is your identity. The Baal Shem Tov revealed the faith of Hashem in every Jew. Baal Shem Tov revealed how the term mitzvahs and a Jew are not two separate things. But a Jew is able to completely identify with the mitzvah that he's doing and feel that there's nothing besides Hashem. Baal Shem Tov revealed this truth, how all there is godliness, and therefore when a Jew does a mitzvah, he's able to be completely immersed into it. And just like when a baby is born, before the baby is born, the baby is merely seen as a baby eats what the mother eats. The baby doesn't see, the baby doesn't hear, has all of his limbs, but he doesn't have his own identity. You don't see a fusion of soul and body and the person becoming one entity until he's born. Before he's born, the baby's soul, the baby's body are not really one entity. When do you become? When can we classify a person as being an independent, live being that not that he has a soul and that he has a body, but his body and soul are one, that he is a human live being, not just he has a soul in him that pushes him, that makes him eat. The baby in the mother's stomach also eats, also drinks, but it doesn't have its own identity. His soul and his body are somewhat detached from each other. You don't see the body of the baby and the soul of the baby becoming one. When do you see the body of the baby and the soul of the baby becoming one entity, that he's now one live baby? When he's born. When he's born, he becomes his own self. His body and soul unite and become one. So that's what the Baal Shem Tov accomplished by revealing the faith of the Jew in Hashem, the faith that there's nothing besides Hashem. That allows the mitzvahs and Torah that we do to become our identity. This is all we're doing. I'm doing a mitzvah of Hashem. What else is there? That was given to us by the Baal Shem. Not that we're doing something else outside of us, but this is us. This is our identity. But the Baal Shem Tov only revealed the faith of a Jew. The Alter Rebbe added something. What did he add? He added that we should also be able to understand our faith. We should be able to internalize it. We should be able to make sense of it. We should be able to absorb it. The Baal Shem Tov revealed the faith of a Jew in Hashem. That's true. But if your faith is something that doesn't connect, second, open the door. If you're, second. Hold on. 1 minute. Second, hold on. There I am. Okay. All right. If your faith in Hashem is something that is not in sync with the way you actually think and understand, then a very big part of you is not really connecting to your Torah mitzvahs. Not just a very big part. The most important part of you, the gift of human being, is his intellect. If you're not able to make sense of your Judaism, make sense of your belief in Hashem, so then there's a major part of you which is not really present in your Judaism. You may be alive, like in the analogy of the baby is now alive, is now an independent identity, but is his mind alive? Is his heart alive? Is every single part of him alive in the same way? Or is he just functioning because there's a general life? Because the Baal Shem Tov brought life into Judaism. He brought our faith in Hashem. The Alter Rebbe brought it down. On the surface, he brought it down. He brought it to a lower level, to the intellect. On the other hand, two things are unique about this. Number one is that the Alter Rebbe, in order to bring something down to the intellect, there has to be a greater force. Like we said before about Shem Havaya, to bring something down to Shem Elokim, to bring something to the infinite, the finite, requires a greater power. To bring something down is the purpose of Hashem in creation. Hashem wants a home in the lowest realm. But more, besides those two concepts, that what's unique about the contraction of Shem Elokim is, number one, that it allows, in order to make that possible, there has to be a higher power. And number two, the revelation of Chassidic Chabad, bringing it down into the intellect, it makes us able to identify more with our Judaism in a personal way, that we're able to be more ourselves in our Judaism. Besides that, is there something new over here? The coming of Mashiach is about Hashem being revealed in the world in a way that we see there's nothing besides. So if your Judaism is in a way that there's a part of you that's not connecting with it, that's a contradiction to the coming of Mashiach. Mashiach is about the world being home for Hashem. So there was an opposition to Alter Rebbe because he was doing something new. He was bringing it down. But on the other hand, he was bringing it up. He was bringing it down to the intellect. On the other hand, bringing it down to the intellect is actually the purpose of creation. Hashem wants us ourselves to identify with Judaism, to identify with our faith in Hashem. It should be our own understanding. That's just, we should, some people think that religious Jews turn their brains off. That's how they keep Torah mitzvahs, because they turn their minds off. The Alter Rebbe accomplished that our faith in Hashem should be something that we see. It's our own perspective. We look at things. This explains something else. There was a there was a year when the previous Rebbe, he writes how his father went to heaven with his grandfather, and they went to the chamber of the Baal Shem Tov, and they learned teachings directly from the Baal Shem Tov. There's a great detailed discussion about how they went there and what happened there. But one of the teachings that the previous Rebbe shared was that the Baal Shem Tov taught, says in the Torah, this week's Torah portion, you will come to the land, and you will take the fruits of the land and put it in your basket. The Baal Shem Tov explained, coming to the land means, land in Hebrew means inspiration. Hashem gives you, Hashem, every Jew has in his inheritance a desire to serve Hashem. He has a will to serve Hashem. When you have that will, when you have that inspiration, what should you do with the inspiration? The Torah says, take the fruit and put it in a basket. Bring it down into yourself. The Baal Shem Tov was talking about the unique contribution of the Alter Rebbe. Hashem gives you an inspiration. You have to put it in a basket. You have to make it yours. You have to make it your own feelings, your own identity, not just as something that you do, something that you believe in. It has to be your own. Put it in a basket. Hashem gives you this inspiration, but make it yours. The Baal Shem Tov, the previous Rebbe, writes in great detail how the Baal Shem Tov was talking to the souls in heaven and what they did that Shabbos and had the Shabbos meal and what they ate in heaven, and how he said one teaching before the evening prayer, one teaching after the evening prayer. And the Baal Shem Tov repeated the teaching after the evening prayer. He added a point, and that point is this. The Torah continues and says, when you go to the place that Hashem chooses to let his name rest there, that's the words of the Torah. Baal Shem Tov says, when you go to the place, whenever a Jew goes from place to place, he's going because Hashem chose him to go to that place. And why does Hashem want you to go to a place? L'shakin shmei sham, to reveal God's name in that place. That's why you're going to that place. How do you reveal God's name? Said the Baal Shem Tov, with the word of Tehillim, with a bracha. That's how you reveal God's name. This is very emblematic. This teaching is emblematic of this idea of a birthday. When a baby is born, not only is a baby his own identity, not only does the baby now function fully with all of his limbs and all of his abilities, but now the baby impacts the world. The very first thing, a baby is born, the baby cries, the people hear him. Through the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, as they're explained by the Alter Rebbe and Chassidic Chabad, the way that we can understand it, there's an impact on the world around us as well. If you're just doing something because you're supposed to, it's hard to influence others. But if you're doing something in a way that makes sense to you, then you're able to influence others as well. That's why this teaching was given to us through the previous Rebbe. The previous Rebbe brought the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov even more explained in a very down-to-earth way. So there is the essence of the soul, and then there is the way the essence of the soul comes down into our mind, into our heart, into our body. We identify with our neshama, and this is achieved through the teachings of Chassidic Chabad that allow us to make sense of our faith in Hashem, and this is why it was the previous Rebbe who began this activity of spreading Torah on the world and filling with people and sharing the Torah. Why? Because the previous Rebbe brought down the teachings of Chassidus even more into our understanding, more into our persona, and that allowed us to, like the baby who was born, to make an impact in the world. The baby grows, the baby is able to accomplish an impact much significantly more. So bottom line is that the coming Mashiach, as the Baal Shem Tov visited once the chamber of Mashiach, asked Mashiach, when will you come? Mashiach said, when your wellsprings, when your teachings will be spread to the outside. So by learning the teachings of Chassidus, and especially the Chassidic Chabad, the Alter Rebbe, we connect with this truth of Hashem, and we prepare the world for coming Mashiach.